Good afternoon, dear observers. Today we are starting a new series dedicated to bringing the unspoken truth and the news that mainstream media doesn't cover to our English-speaking observers and diaspora representatives. Today, I want to talk about the recent military budget cut in the Republic of Armenia that we learned about a few weeks ago and how that will potentially impact the upcoming negotiations and relations with our neighboring enemies, such as Azerbaijan. So, basically, 2 weeks ago, the finance minister of Armenia brought to the government's attention that the military budget will be cut by 10%. Although it is usually underestimated by the numbers, and military budget is usually much more than we speak, it is still a critical mistake. So let me bring some examples to prove the point. In the meantime, while our enemy increases its budgets, Armenia cuts military budget. And in a long-term perspective, that will not be a very wise outcome. Back in August, when the peace deal was pre-signed in Washington, that was one of the issues discussed between the Prime Minister of Armenia and the President of Azerbaijan, alongside with the change of constitution, or as how many people call it, the Aliyev change of Armenian constitution, which obviously goes against many UN resolutions and basic logic. However, that is the reality that we live in today. In the meantime, Azerbaijan increased its military budget slightly, and even the fact that Armenia has prepaid $3 to $4 billion for the military weapons, mostly to India and France, doesn't really speak anything. Because while the enemy that keeps Armenian prisoners of war hostages keeps moving forward when it comes to military, Armenia constantly steps back. With all of this, now it is critical to understand a simple truth. The issue of Artsakh, although it was the most honest and noble fight the Armenians have fought in the past 30 years, it was never an issue of agreements. It was never an issue of deals. It was always an issue of the winner takes it all. And now the so-called peace agreement that Armenia signed in Washington is nothing, because it's just a time frame that will buy Armenia some time to prepare and be ready. And cutting the military budget in this case is not the wisest thing to do. Moving next, the next issue that we should always keep in mind is the fact that there are prisoners of war kept in Baku dungeons. With this in hand, the military budget should never go down, because quite frankly, with this new taxation reform that basically kills the small and medium businesses, but succeeds to collect enough tax, the money is not an issue. So Armenia can afford a solid military budget without cutting the other ones. So this was the main issue that I wanted to showcase today in our today's perspective. We will keep this format on running and bringing the current unspoken truths and uncovered news to your attention. Thank you very much.